You know how everybody's jumping into building apps these days? Well, I made a huge mistake with my latest project, and I want to save you from doing the same thing. Look, to be honest, I'm that guy that jumps in and gets super excited about an idea and wants to just dive right in. But after months of using AI to automate our real estate business, I've learned something critical. If you don't set up your project management right from day one, you're basically building a house without a foundation. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how I'm using Claude and ChatGPT as my project managers. This is literally day 2 of my 40-day challenge to build an app. But before I wrote a single line of code or jump into any of the no-code tools, I did this one crucial step that changed everything. And the best part is that this works whether you're building an app, starting a business, or just trying to automate your workflow like I'm doing with our real estate business. Let me show you how I'm doing it. So it's day number 2 of my 40-day challenge that I put on myself to be able to build out a no-code app using tools like Replit and Bolt.new. The whole concept of this app and of this challenge, and the reason why I'm trying to do it within 40 days, is because Christmas is coming up. And I wanted to build out something that my mother, who is obviously older than myself, can use. And people like her can benefit from. Because she's getting older, she's a writer, she loves to write and wants to pass on her stories as her legacy. But as you get older, it's hard to do things like that. It's hard to stare at a computer for a while. It's hard to figure out the tools in order to broadcast your story, to share it with your family, different things like that. So I had the idea of trying to build out this app to present to her before Christmas. But even before starting out the whole building process, I need to set up an organization structure. I do terrible at organization. I'm super scattered. I'm all over the place with just everything in general. But I have seemed to figure out a workflow that works for me over the past few months using some of the main AI tools out there. So before we get into this whole project of coding out this app and doing all those things, let's dive into how I want to build out the organization structure so I can use Claude and ChatGPT as my project managers. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the desktop here and see what we've got going on. And before we even get started, actually over here on this one, I subscribe to vidIQ. And before I even dive into a video like this, I like to throw in the idea for it, and it helps build out a little hook or whatever using AI tools. And pretty cool because it actually gives me ideas for thumbnails, and some of them are kind of stupid, but they've incorporated your likeness into it. So if you see some thumbnails that look like this guy that kind of looks like me, it's probably because I use vidIQ. Anyways, that's another video for a different day. But let's go ahead and talk about what I have as my workflow. With this app idea that I came up with, this actually started a few days ago. So what I did to show you what's already been done behind the scenes, and then I'll show you how I do it here in a second. But I went into ChatGPT one preview and explained my whole idea and then asked it to build it out for me. And then from there, I went over to Claude because I like Claude better for organization with the projects. A lot of stuff gets lost in ChatGPT because if you look at how many threads I have just on a daily basis over here, a lot of stuff can get lost really easily. So I like to use Claude for this reason specifically. Look at this, temporarily switch to concise responses. We're experiencing high demand. Concise responses will help you chat more with Claude. Don't know what that means. Hopefully it doesn't throw a wrench in our plans today, but that's what's going on with Claude today. Let me know if you have any issues with that as well. All right, so what I do after that is I jump into Claude over here and I build out a project. So this is my project that I'm in. And what I do at the very beginning, let's close that out. What I do at the very beginning is I set up this project, giving roles to Claude and giving project knowledge for the knowledge base so that as I go through this project, I will be able to keep everything organized and also have a knowledge base so it knows where I'm coming from. It knows exactly what this project is about. So I've already started doing that, but I'll show you here in a second how I've done that. So what I would typically do is go in here and say, this is day 2 of a 40-day challenge. What I could potentially do is set up a separate project as a 40-day challenge instead of it being based on this app altogether. But what I think I'm going to do is actually embed that 40-day challenge within the app project that I already have built out. The thing about Claude, which is why I go back and forth between this and ChatGPT, is that Claude always goes with building out. It automatically goes to, I'm going to give you code in order to make whatever you just said, versus ChatGPT tends to just go through the process, explain stuff in just like natural language and stuff like that. But Claude wants to go and build stuff for you. So those are two of the differences that I see in these tools. So what I would do is I would go in and start a new chat for this separate day so that when I go into this project, I'll have a chat here that I can rename and have it named as day number 2 of this 40-day challenge. So I can rename it day 2, November, whatever we at, 14 now. When I go into the project, I will have a better organization, or at least that's what I'm hoping, because that's my goal here, is that as I go through the project, I can go back to each day and reference it. And then what my plan to do is at the end of each day, ask it to build me out a detailed summary of whatever we went through that day, whatever we succeeded in, failed in, whatever. And then at the end of the week, do a weekly summary so that I can take that summary and drop that back into the knowledge base here. And then it's got a whole running tab of what's been going on with this project, where we've been, what development we've done, and different things like that. So that's the idea behind using Claude as my project manager for specifically this 40-day app building challenge. And also, it's very helpful because with Claude, it gets into a lot of the code. So if I have some issues and errors on certain days that I'm getting in bolt.new when I'm building this thing out, it can help me go through that, troubleshoot, and then I'll have that still in this whole chat thread, in this knowledge base, so I can go back and check on these things and figure out different things that have happened throughout the process. That's where I'm at. But let's go ahead and dive in real quick about how I would actually do this from scratch. Normally, I do it on my phone, but I record on my phone. So what I'm going to do is do it from my laptop, because the reason I can't do a desktop app on this computer is because it's only a certain version of the Mac that you're allowed to do it, and mine is too old, so I can't do it on here. But with the apps, you can actually just speak into it and tell it what you want to do. I wish they would do that on the desktop version, but as you see, that's not an option here. But on the phone, you can. So that's typically what I do. So what I'm going to do is go into ChatGPT, and the cool thing is I'll be able to show you right there what I actually ended up doing. So I'm going to go into ChatGPT right now on my laptop, start a new chat. So you know what's going on in the background here, because I can't show you right now, but I have ChatGPT open on my laptop in the app, and I'm going to go ahead and just talk about this project. And I'm using the O1 preview model. I use the O1 preview model because it goes into depth when it comes to building out a plan for something. It's the most in-depth, where it thinks through the process and does that whole thing. So when I'm building out like a plan or something like a proposal or something like that, where I'm trying to really just do a deep dive into it, I use the O1 preview model. All right, so I'm going to do a concise version versus what we already have here. Here we go. So I want to create an app, and the premise of the app is that I want to make something that can help specifically elderly people just dictate their life, build out their story, something that's easy for them to use, some sort of app that they can use that can help them dictate their life story and share it with friends and family, and maybe even leave their legacy and take it to different levels. Now, even though it's focused on older people, this could be something that could be beneficial for a lot of different people as a sort of ghostwriter, or just to journal your life and to tell your story. And it's based on, I'm kind of calling this the Remember Me experiment. Help me map out exactly what it would take to build out an app like this. I do not have coding experience, but I have access to some very good no-code tools like bolt.new and Replit agents that can help me build this thing out. So I need a very detailed plan of how this app could be built out and the whole premise for the whole thing. So I need some help with that. All right, so as it's processing, I'm going to set that down. It's just processing the speech. That's done. The transcription. I wish I could show you that whole process, but that's not where we're at today. The good thing is that between your phone laptop, whatever. If you're in ChatGPT, you can transfer everything over to the web version. So it looks like on the other page it is done processing. So I'll go ahead and refresh this. I'm not going to read the whole thing out to you today, just to keep things moving. But essentially what I would do is I go in here, and this is the overall outline of what the app would be. So I would go in, take this, copy this whole thing. Then I would come over to the Claude here. Projects. Let's go ahead and create a new project for this whole demonstration purpose. And I'll just call it new app idea. Create project. So then you've got your new project right here. And what you can do is go ahead and add things to your project knowledge base. So it gives it a basis of what you're trying to do here. So if you went through this whole thing over here and you said, "That's great, that's exactly what I want for my thing," or you went back and forth with ChatGPT, figured it out. Come over here and you can either upload your project knowledge from a device, like a file on your computer, or you can just add it as text. Since I have it here as text, I'll just do it like this. Copy paste from ChatGPT, new app plan. Let's just call it the new app plan, just so you understand exactly the process here. So that is done. We have the new app plan is in the context. So when you go in here, you start a chat, you could say, "What do you think I should?" Whoa, I can't type. By the way, kids, if you ever think about dropping out of typing class, don't do it. "What do you think I should do first? Building my app." So this is just to, oh dear God. Due to unexpected capacity constraints, Claude is unable to respond to your message. This is crazy. On the day that I'm trying to do this, Claude crashes. Wow. I've never seen this happen. Claude's crashing. I guess everybody's on the Claude train today. What I can do is explain really quick what would happen from there. Is that it has everything in the knowledge base here, so that it knows what you have for your idea, and you can go and reference that every time you ask a question. Now, this next part right here is set up custom instructions. When setting up custom instructions, it basically tells Claude how to act, what kind of roles it should have, what it should know for itself. So what I'll do really quick, because I don't like typing, is do the same thing over here on my laptop, is come into ChatGPT. "Hey, for a project like this, what type of professionals and experts would be needed in order to help with a project like this? I need to know their roles and how they would help." That's the cool thing about ChatGPT and the voice dictation part. For people like me specifically, like I can't go back and forth with the chat on ChatGPT, because it, like, this is how I talk, and I have to think through my thoughts as I'm talking, and it doesn't really work out so well. So when I can just do the dictation and ramble, and it gets the gist of what I'm saying, and it can make a clear and concise answer based on my ramblings, it's great. All right, so the thing about O1 Preview, it is so intense with the answers. So if you want like a shorter answer, go with the 4L, which I would actually probably in the very near future, if I was moving along from building out the plan, I would switch over to the 4.0 model, just because it's a bit easier and quicker with responses. All right, let's refresh this and see what it told us. I don't come up with any of this stuff myself. I literally just ask either ChatGPT or Claude itself. I'm like, what would you need to do as you basically make your own role? So it gives out the complete role. You can put all of that in there, copy it, paste it over here, save instructions, and now you have essentially all those professionals, all of those copywriter, data analyst, partnership and outreach coordinator. You have all of these sort of skill sets that are incorporated into your project. So that is essentially how I would set it up if I were to do it again, which I just did this a couple of days ago. But now that we have it set up, it's time for me to go in and start working on this thing. For one, it's crazy what happened with Claude. So interesting to see how that works out. Probably some sort of breaking news is happening. But for now, that's not going to stop my flow for today, because I'm going to dive into Bolt.new and start building this thing out. So hopefully that's going to be the next video. Hopefully this wasn't too rambly for you, but I just wanted to go through the process of setting up Claude as your project manager for whatever it may be, but specifically for this project, building out this app within 40 days. So we're on day number 2. Hopefully I'll be able to knock out another video. Hopefully whatever's going on with Claude does not hamper my productivity too much. But if you want to see how this works out, Just follow the channel and let me know if you have any tips, anything that you see that you do differently or that you do better. Let me know in the comments basically how I can do this better, because we're all learning together here and we're just trying to get to the next level. And I've got 39 days left, including today, to accomplish this goal of building out this successful app that is out there, not just for myself, my mother, but hopefully for the whole world. But we'll see how it goes. All right, we'll talk to you soon.